Very good afternoon to all, respected my great students. First of all, in which way you coming information systems, information security, importance of the security, what are the various types, classes. Then you need to know the information assurance declaration, warranty, how the policy matter which are going to be applicable. We study one of the other. These contents are last contents of the first unit. We'll discuss thoroughly. Whatever is possible today I'll cover, and remaining we'll plan after Deepavali. Moreover, wish you happy Deepavali to all, and we'll go next session. See introduction, what it says. How we can just define a cyber security, how to distinguish between the information assurance, how to distinguish between the various aspects and the features of information assurance, and what are the career opportunities in cybersecurity, and moreover challenging issues. You can say most of the challenging issues in cybersecurity. First and the foremost, a great fellow, Richard Clark, I point out one quotable quote: if you spend more on coffee than on IT security, then you'll be hacked. What is more, you deserve to be hacked. That means to say, a purpose of the information technology security, if you need to be concentrate on effective, efficient way of work hard, and you spend another way other than the objectives, other than the conditions, other than the constraints, then the chances of act. That is the meaning of that great quotable quote. Just you made an assumption, and that it says very clearly, if you are concentrating, then what you require, then obviously chances of misusing, malfunctioning, misleading, and taking most of the information. Today we are seeing exponential level of growing, correct? No? The level of information flow going efficiently, effectively, same as it is, we can find out in the network paradigm, as like in which way the cyber also, most of the social network, we can identify the attacks also increase day by day. According to a former president of USA, Obama's word, one of the most serious economic and national security threats our faces. See, we can just see one to another, watch our way of the approaches, figurative information of the face. That itself only give a very clear image, and also how the face is an index of mind, correct? No? Like that way, going to be provide what are all the thoughts of the human being. That's an indication of great Obama. See friends, just I'll give a clear definition. The process of applying measures CIA, already we come across. What it means to say is confidentiality, integrity of the data, and availability of the data. See, these three important triangular nodes, edges, which are part of the security and going to be measures which ensures and accommodate such a way that how the procedure involving to manage most of the information, very confidential information, no? And most of the integration integrated to one another, no? And we should be available. All these procedures involving in order to manage a secured, a privacy robustness is nothing but a cyber security, which attempts to assure, we say that one very clearly, whatever the properties of the systems, whatever the properties of the information, whatever the properties of assets of the entrepreneurs are educationally, which includes most of the time, we can classify like a soft core and the hard core. Data is basically a soft core and desktops, so servers, so buildings, so most importantly, overall the user humans, which attempt make sure such a way that clearly measuring a flow of an assurance for protecting various category of the properties, including a soft core like a data, and similarly hardcore like desktops. We can see correct now what type of a machine and the server and the buildings and the most importantly user who are all involved. The goal of a cybersecurity should be a very transit one and rest one. That means to say protecting any sort of a data which are going to be focused in any hardcore or like a desktop or a server should be transit and RL correct now should be movable and maybe statistical correct now available dynamically. Similarly, enhancing running level of that one transit and at rest also. In both the cases, you have to be identify in which way we are in a position to protect, we are in a position to adjust the information. That is an indication called cyber security. And what are all the risks which are there if you go like this way? We can say who and what is that risk. If you are going to be protect with the help of a confidentiality of a data, integrity of the data, and similarly availability of data, and you have to follow certainly the number of measuring parameter, we can say metrics. One is an economy because how which are going to be used, funding agency, fund from so and so, correct? You can say economy, defense, so in order to manage. See, today we are very happy in which way the people like most of the security which are going to be manageable in our border or country, how they are going to be struggle for our survival, our correct no very easy way of a life day in day out. Something goes wrong, then automatically they are in a trouble. That's a defense in which way you can find out like what we have three different type of forces today. Air Force. So similarly, what we have like through submarine and similarly on the floor, a different level of air force which are going to be looking at defensive manner, finding out all the users who are all there within the regional space should be highly secure. Transportation. Please, you can observe very clearly the number of levels of the transportation, mode of transportation by air, on floor, similarly how which are going to be movable. We can find out, see that one, immigration. If you move from one country to another country, there should be immigration. Passport, identity. Similarly, if you are within the, if our vehicle is which are going to be moved outside the state, then there should be a certain procedure, check post, correct? No? In all cases, if you are using a vehicle which are permit within the regional space, similarly, if you go outside, then what sort of a security risks which are going to be. Medical. Today, we know that one, even though we are a very, very highly sophisticated, very intelligent intellectual property of doctors or medical facilities are available in our country, but due to, correct, no, certainly you have to move towards the overseas, then you have to make use a measuring aspects of a risk of medical. Similarly, government agencies. If you are working in a state, in a central, in the paramedical and whatnot, we have government organization, we have our own correct rules and regulation. Once you take and get into the order, then you have to follow certainly what are the false and the policy matter which comes within the organization, maybe a state government, correct, the government. Why I mean to say, suppose a service of the total years service for the state government employees of the state of Karnataka like 60 years. Similarly, move towards the Kerala, maybe 58. Similarly, move towards Tamil Nadu. It varies. But similarly, if you see the central government, 65 years. See, these are all the way, correct. Now, how these are all the risks. We can't say it's because myself working in the same country, why can't you may consider, even though you are a state employee, I'm the employee. And these are various other issues also there. These are also the privacy matter and the risk factors. Telecommunications, you say that one, how the MTNL, BSNL, Reliance, and whatnot. Correct. Now we can find out today n number of service provider. Even not only they are giving the audio, video, and similarly we can get also the card internet service connectivity as to telecommunication. Energy sector. We point out very clearly like a solar energy, electric energy, wind energy, and how we can create, generate an energy with water, correct? No? Suppose flooding which happens, how we can just get back that one from the, correct, no? Great rivers, so various other places possible, how we can build various value of the representation. Similarly, critical infrastructures. See, once you maintain the level of a security aspects, take an example, NAL, National Aeronautical Lab, DRDO, Defense Organization, LRDE, in which way they are going to, missile, rocket, launching vehicles, which are going to be manageable. There, they have their own critical infrastructure. We are not in a position to see in which way the design of an engineer, the responsibility of a scientist who are going to be managed, correct? No? They have their own critical. We are seeing in which way human being which were all going to the moon, how they easily manage as like in which way the day-to-day activities. That looks like some sort of a critical infrastructure. And finally, or it may be the computers, computers connectivity cables, and in which we are seeing TV correct, no? Phones, and whatnot, the programs which are available for our entertainment to enjoyment to. You say that for audio, video, whatnot. These are all, they have their own level of risks which are there. Once we describe what is meant by cyber security. Keep on add and update. Get more benefit with the help of certain information available in limited manner. And risk management automatically increases the utility of information in which we can unauthorized or the authorized users who are all there, and the ability to reduce most of the utilities of the information who are all there other than the authorized user. You can just make a class of that one unauthorized user. That means to say risk management is always a cope up most of the available information in a specified manner, and which are going to be reduce the task or the utility of an information from the unauthorized user. And moreover, which are very strongly related to the field of IS, information security, and also the business community, which are, if you take any sort of a security which are going to be manageable, in any organization, any entrepreneurs, any institution which are strongly related to the field of information security, and also the benefit and the advent of the complete organization and the activity where exactly which are going to be take place. We can just say the fundamentals of the IS stands for three important: completely maintain the privacy, we can say confidentiality. The second one, what it means, with various read permission, write permission, or trip permission, all which are a matter of how the fundamental concept of the information assurance which are going to be take place. And information assurance process typically begins with enumeration and the classification of the various assets. See, we come across, we can make a classification of physical assets, so logical assets, so network, communication, operation, correct? What we have come across should be protected in a systematic manner to assure, declare such a way that these are all part and parcel of this complete environment of managing full-fledged security. And similarly, information assurance practitioner will perform a risk assessment of those assets. The chances of failure, take a risk such a way that something goes wrong, also responsibility of the user, responsibility of the system, responsibility of the network, all which comes to a matter. A vulnerabilities in the information once again determine the order of enumerate threats capable of exploiting the, suppose how which are going to be data is going to be steal, data is going to be duplicate, data is going to be malfunction. These are a, will come to the clear definition of what is meant by vulnerability. That means to say changes which are going to be happen without the knowledge of the user who are all going to be manage number of resources. Information assets are determined in order to enumerate the threats capable of exploiting various properties available in the system of information. And once again, information process, both probability and the impact factor, and can say threat exploiting the vulnerability of a property, and also which are going to use measure which impact on the cost and overall the user stakeholders, the agent, and similarly overall involving managing a complete system. Any changes which are going to be take place, which are considered to be a part of assessment, both the probability, that means the chances of failure, chances of success, chances of correct, how we can improve, which are going to be threat exploiting vulnerability of any property, which usually impact on the cost in terms of cost and also overall the stockholders. And you can say some of the products of the threats impact and probability of their occurring is the total risk to the information. That means to say we take into consideration, consolidate various issues which are part of the threats, so and how the probability of their occurring information flow going to be take place in order to manage, which comes and deals, states that level of a risk to the information property. And once again, with the risk assessment complete, the practitioner then develops a risk management plan. There should be a path have to be established, how the plan of processes are proposed, countermeasures which are going to be mitigating, eliminating, accepting, transferring various level of risk. You say that one overall involving X or Y and considers prevention, detection, and response to threat. See, we see that one today in our Karnataka state, like a drug issues, correct now. A one person entering, they used to get all sort of overall in the group, mitigating, eliminating, accepting, transferring the risk, and then consider. These are also one level of the information in security. And similarly, the framework published by a standards, we have like you mentioned ISO, NAA, National Security Assessment. Similarly, in which way the developmental authority and the organization who are all going to be managed, and you have to follow certainly the terms and conditions of that one published under standard organization of risk IT, and in which way COBE IT, PCI DSS, ISO Industrial Electronics Commission, and which were happen to be deals and provide a policy in which way it are going to be manageable from one to another for maintaining a full-fledged security in any information system. And we have come across a clear definition of what is meant by physical security, what is meant by network security. See, there should be a significant part of any security system and cannot be ignored as it is important line of defense or emotion. See, if you say this particular server, this particular equipment, this particular switch, this particular router is a part and part correct, then you have to be consider their importance in which way which are going to be provide an impact advent of the organization. In order to manage, like hardware security can be primarily considered under physical security. How we can easily manage the various servers, desktops, laptops, computers, all which are interconnected one to another. Even though some of the components of the hardware can be considered under other security, such as network, because once we see most of the hardware connectivity in physical nature, then in order to manage one physical nature of equipment to the another physical nature of nature, then you have to go with a network. There also you can easily identify. We have studied like a TCP/IP is the underlying protocol for computer communication that facilitates a distributed connectivity and communication facilities for sharing data between. See, we say that one computer X, Amazon, Snapdeal, whatnot you are using for our day-to-day Google search, correct? There should be some sort of a computer, our computer, interconnected and gathering an information, correct? That's why two computers present at different location, but the protocol of a TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, results and provide an invention of the Internet, and even though in which way the global idea and the global WW, World Wide Web connectivity. That means to say, whatever ourselves, we have a physical devices available. In order to connect one physical device to another physical device, other than the local, if you go with like a connectivity internet, then the TCP/IP is having its own key roles to play to understand. But there also you can identify there's a structure of the TCP, structure of the IP, and you have to study where the insecurity which are going to be cope up, which are going to be handled in an insecure manner, and you have a chances of that one. Offset is there, onset is there, how the payload is going to be carried, what is an address spec. These are all various other parameters which comes in order to understand what is a TCP/IP related. And once again, the network security is essential to protect the data that is being transmitted and guarantee that the data is not tampered and during. See, what is the functionality of the physical security? Physical security, it will say myself is available, you can get and connectivity from one point to the another point. See, similarly, network security also essentially to protect any sort of an exchange flow should be transmit from one location to another. That should be more reliable. See, if you say, I told you, if you have a problem of a network issue, I'll get back. You have to hold on that one. Then you say, set up properly, and because whatever the information which are available on my laptop, you have to get on the other end. You have to get on the other end. Somebody should not tamper. Somebody should not steal the data. Correct, while transmitting from here to the your location. That is the part. And importance, key roles of the network security. And communication security, securing communication through the use of various mechanisms. That means you can set an address, you can set a configuration, you can set a protocol, you can just say at a time how many number of users can connect directly to the server room, what sort of a users, correct, no? Terminology they can make use for accessing the data. These are all comes under part of communication security, considered broadly as a part of network security. Because once the accessibility comes, any exchange data from a device of 1 to the device of X, X to the A to B, whatever it may we can take, then the procedure which are there, protocols which are there managing, but a security or securing communication thoroughly handle most of the information in a secure manner. Mechanism, secure session mechanism. Session which are going to be established between the user X to the user Y, user X, source to the user target. And secure encryption mechanism may be considered as part of the company. Wherever the change is correct, no? You have to be say, this is exactly from the user X, how we can identify. There should be some sort of algorithmic, there should be some sort of mechanism which relate to understand what is meant by encryption mechanism. There should be encrypting data. Even though plain text data, once you are sending the plain text data, while adding, updating plain text data, or else if you are using, in case of like a source address, destination address, there itself only, they can easily attack, they can easily insecure a complete communication facility. And similarly, like a software security, broadly deals with the how the interfacing, how the configuration of the OS going to be manageable. Is the X or is the Y user, how they used to be, at what time they used to be peak hours, so what sort of a flow which were happen to be transferred from X to Y, correct, no? Because of software utility or software security. Application security, security of software utility tools, including the security of tools used to provide information in a very systematic level. And in order to find out, operating systems provide many of the functionality required for the servers, computers, to work effectively. See, once you define an OS, how OS is basically application level process, but overall the responsibility, the equipment or the physical level security should be very, very positive in effectively including communication capability with other system, processing of information in an effective manner, functioning of, see what we are discussing and ourselves as part of the class, but how which are going to, even though you are through in a secure manner, but system also has to be managed, correct, no? Through a laptop addressing, we can easily track and we can easily trace at what time logged in, no? That's why you can see that when the complete log data, complete a tracking data, you can find out easily what are all the functionalities of the software security, communication security, network security, and physical security. Once the information which are going to be transferred from one user to the another user, source to the destination. These are all a cycling process. It's a complete iterative process to be understand how the information is. And you say another a personality security, person security, important layer of keeping person motivated, making them aware of the information with a risk, various risks, and involving them in the implementation of same important aspect of info which cannot be forgotten at any cost. See what will happen. See, there should be a restriction of handling your card, what we are using like ATM card. ATM card, anybody can make use, correct? No, there is no. But once you use for that one, there should be authenticated code, PIN number. If a person is stealing, correct? No, then you don't have a security on that particular ATM card. Because one to other, there is a random number generation of that one, it automatically say if any doubt, any sort of a misuse of that one, which are going to be carried, how the personal security also important part all together with like a computer security and similarly physical security and how we are using in case of a network and the communication security. And most of the time employees, you said permanent or ad hoc or a temporary and maybe a contract basis or suppliers are all significant in this regard. That means to say you see in any state, government organization, university, entrepreneurship have their own criteria for what is the position, a permanent or a temporary, correct? Some sort of, because there should be more strength, there should be more characteristic feature, there should be more weightage, better than the ad hoc, better than the temporary, which are going to be because you can easily trace out how long is going to be stay in the organization. Correct? No? These are the factors that comes to a picture in order to understand how best with information. See, usually today you can see in 1995 16 million users because you see that one the target of the user where these are the problems which were happened to be and later 21.6 which a doubly of the can you see that now the percentage today we are in 2020 unbelievable strategy both physical cybersecurity separately even though intrawind you can find out the level of usage of the data with various other components, so various levels of the technological aspects of the apps, so services available, we can find out the changes in an exponential manner. And what are the things we can do for the personal security? There should be some sort of a training, there should be some sort of a workshop, and you have to be give a very clear picture of the knowledge, observation, and the you have to just hold on at what time is coming and going, vigilance, understanding the error, and following the various policies and the processes of how which are going to be manageable of network. See, this is a good relationship paradigm. If you choose like a network security layer, software security approaches, physical security layer, and overall you can say which are going to be manageable, organized, which are going to be administered by a personal security. You go one by one, you can understand like a network security layer, hardening equipment. Yes, I mentioned most of the time, hardcore, correct configuration, usage of a secure protocol, strong passwords, encryption keys, maybe a set of firewalls, network denial services, internet denial services, so service providers, so how which are going to be managed, correct? No, various NAC address, so specification. These are all part of a network security layer, which are going to be understand the real flow of the secure data. Similarly, physical security layer, which includes all level of a processor, all level of interfaces, all levels of storage devices. The security star, physical access control system, like correct now what we are finding like HID, biometric, and also similarly visitor control like a CCTV monitoring. Need not to go to the particular block and then you can watch on the screen and you can say who is the person is coming newly, correct now. You can easily observe the flow of an exchange of through CCTV, host platform. Similarly, some of the parameters like how which are going to be changed, humidity changes suddenly by an accident way of how we can get a catastrophic event. So, and how which are going to prevent the waste control. So, antivirus software packages. So, these are the part and key roles of physical security layer. Similar fashion, if you go for the software quality, including because in which way it are going to be manageable, we told her we clearly within a short span of a time understand how this work, correct? No? The accessibility which are going to. But the strong and authenticator mechanisms and the correct way of the configuration and the secure coding and in which you can easily validate input which are essentially required for a complete environment of information security, patching, driving, and similarly software updates, say database and the web server control. These are the various levels of awareness, training, knowledge, which comes under the observation and the vigilance understanding. You can see that one if you are going to join from post of an assistant professor reaching to the professor, you should have all sort of a scan and you have to give out exactly your identity, where you stand. I would like to go for some all sort of information which are available. And security threats, I just close to the session. These are all the information which are so very important to us, and we can understand step-by-step procedure in which way the cyber security and the information assurance and threats and the vulnerability and what are all the risk factors which are going to be manageable for the complete security information flow which are going to be take place in any organization, in any entrepreneur and any sort of say MNC. These are the things are very important concept to be understand. Next class I'll just go with for continuity. I'll wind up with this first unit all the contents